Are we in a simulation?
I mean, my heart says no, and my brain says yes.
Okay.
You cannot sue your way to the moon. Okay. I think generally people should be open to psychedelics. Yeah. Possibly the single greatest risk to human civilization is the rapidly diminishing birth rate. Time is the ultimate currency, yes. No matter what resources you have, you can't wind back the clock. You know, like Biden held this EV summit, didn't invite Tesla. Invited GM, Ford, Chrysler, and UAW. An EV summit on the White House. Didn't mention Tesla once, and praised GM and Ford for leading the EV revolution. It's not the friendliest administration. Seems to be controlled by the unions, as far as I can tell. At least right now, SpaceX is the only hope. Even if you, for argument's sake, reduce fatalities by 90% with autonomy, the 10% that do die with autonomy are still going to sue you. The reality of doing the right thing matters more than the perception of doing the right thing.
Hey, I'm Stephen and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So Elon Musk has just completed a really wide-ranging, fascinating interview at CodeCon 2021. In this video, I've cut together the absolute highlights, removed all the ums and ahs and pauses, just to save you folks some time. The last supercut you guys really appreciated, so here we are once again. Now, this isn't the entire interview. If you guys want to watch that, there is a link in the description. It'll also cost you 125 bucks. I do recommend spending the money if you can afford the investment. But if not, these are what I believe are the best bits from the entire interview. At the end of this, after the supercut of highlights, I'll also share some of my thoughts and opinions about some of the things Elon had to say. So with that said, let's get into the video. If you love crypto, stocks, and free stuff, or just want to help out the channel, check out these great offers. BlockFi are launching the world's first Bitcoin rewards credit card. People in the US can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase with no annual fee using the BlockFi Bitcoin rewards credit card. Check out the link in the description. And for a limited time, you can get up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, where you can use cryptocurrency to earn interest, borrow cash, and buy or sell crypto. If you want your free crypto, use the link in the description. And if you'd like up to 2 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 1 free stock valued up to $300 just for opening an account. And if you make an initial deposit of $5 or more, you'll get a second free stock valued up to $2,000. Seriously. Free stocks? Yes, please. And finally, if you're in Australia, the UK, or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake, also linked in the description. Thanks so much for your support, guys. Let's get back to it. So let's get into the highlights. Just for the record, I've condensed an hour-long interview down into about 6 minutes. 10% of its original size, really just trying to give you guys and girls the essence of what Elon said and some of the most important, interesting, and fascinating points. I understand that not everyone watching has an hour or $125 to spare, so this video is for you. And just finally, I do recommend watching the video version of these highlights. I'm going to have some labels giving a little bit of context to what Elon is discussing. It'll make sense anyway, but I think if you're a little bit lost, just watch the video, everything will make sense.
Suborbital is a step in the direction of orbit, but just to put things into perspective, you need about 100 times more energy to get to orbit versus suborbit. And then to get back from orbit, you need to burn off that energy. So you need a heavy-duty heat shield because you're coming in like a meteor. Orbit is roughly 2 orders of magnitude more difficult than suborbit, but it's still good to do something in space. We have something called Starlink, which is a global internet system, and this is, I think, going to have some profound positive effects on the world because Starlink is really designed to serve the least served.
You have 1,300 satellites up right now, is that correct?
About 1,500.
And you want to put 30,000?
Yeah. In order to provide high bandwidth, low latency connectivity to a large number of people, you need a lot of satellites, and they need to be at low Earth orbit so that latency is low. The problem with satellites that are at geostationary orbit is that they are around 36,000 kilometers, whereas we are at 550 kilometers. So gigantic difference in latency. For the Starlink system, you could play like a competitive video game that's latency dependent and still be able to play it with Starlink. It's like browsing a terrestrial system essentially. But Starlink is really, just to be clear, not a threat to 5G or terrestrial fiber or anything like that, but it's very well suited to low to medium density regions of the Earth, places where it is too expensive to trench fiber or put 5G cellular base stations. And so it kind of takes care of the people that either the internet's too slow or too expensive, or they just don't have it at all. It's very well suited, a space-based system, for serving like the least served, maybe 5% or something like that. Launch side of things, just launching other people's satellites and serving the space station probably tops out around, $3 or $4 billion a year of revenue. Whereas if we can get to, say, 3% of global internet traffic, then that's roughly $1 trillion a year business, then we can increase our revenue by an order of magnitude to more like 30 billion or something like that. And then we can use the proceeds from that to develop the rocket technology necessary to get humanity to Mars and to the moon and elsewhere in the solar system. But still, our best case marginal cost of launch, not taking into account overhead allocation, is about $15 million.
Per launch.
Yeah, for 15 tons to orbit. Basically, Falcon 9 is effectively about half to a third the cost of alternatives because of the reuse of the boost stage. With Starship, we should be able to get to the point where it's maybe 1% the cost of an expendable system.
So that would just be $1 million, right? Or
Yeah, the marginal cost of launch, we think, can be potentially under $1 million for over 100 tons to orbit.
100 more than 15. You said 15.
Yes, 100 tons likely, and with refinement of the design, probably 150 tons. So essentially, it would be 10 times the payload of Falcon 9 or 15 times lower cost. I think he should put more of his energy into getting to orbit than lawsuits.
Okay.
You cannot sue your way to the moon. Okay. Time is the ultimate currency, yes. No matter what resources you have, you can't wind back the clock. Like Biden held this EV summit, didn't invite Tesla. Invited GM, Ford, Chrysler, and UAW. An EV summit on the White House. Didn't mention Tesla once, and praised GM and Ford for leading the EV revolution.
So you were pissed.
Does this sound maybe a little biased or something? And then, just it's not the friendliest administration. Seems to be controlled by the unions, as far as I can tell. I think a lot of people think that there's too many people on the planet, but I think there's, in fact, too few, and that possibly the single greatest risk to human civilization is the rapidly diminishing birth rate. And the facts are out there for anyone to look at, but a lot of people are still stuck with Paul Ehrlich's book, Population Bomb, and it's like, that was a long time ago. That is not the case today. There was a massive notch in demographics last year because the birth rate plummeted, and also this year. So, no babies, no humanity. You got to come from somewhere.
We spent a lot of time talking about outer space. We want to ask you about inner space, and the question specifically is, do you spend time thinking about humanity's somewhat destructive tendencies before sending people to Mars? And specifically, you've talked about the subject of DMT, and curious to know what role you think psychedelics may have in addressing some of the more destructive tendencies of humanity.
We're going to talk about this tomorrow.
Okay. Well, I think generally people should be open to psychedelics. Yeah. Because nobody else is doing it. And if SpaceX doesn't do it, I'm not sure how it will happen. I think this is, at least right now, SpaceX is the only hope. Even if you, for argument's sake, reduce fatalities by 90% with autonomy, the 10% that do die with autonomy are still going to sue you.
That's right.
The 90% that are living don't even know that that's the reason they're alive. Nonetheless, I've had many conversations with the Tesla Autopilot Full Self-Driving team, who are just an outstanding group of people, and saying, like, listen guys, the reality of doing the right thing matters more than the perception of doing the right thing. And as long as we are confident that we're doing the right thing, even if we are criticized and sued and all that, we should nonetheless do the right thing and not care about simply the perception of the right thing.
Are we in a simulation?
My heart says no, and my brain says yes.
So there we have it. Let me know in the comments below if you appreciate these highlights, these supercuts from Elon Musk interviews. There was great feedback after the last one, so I'd love to know if you guys are interested. I can keep doing these in the future. A lot of people very thankful for saving them time, and in this case, probably some money as well. And now I'm just going to share a few of my thoughts on what Elon had to say. So in regards to SpaceX and Blue Origin, a lot of people don't seem to know a huge amount about launches and rockets, and I totally understand, not everyone is a physics/space nerd, but Elon Musk explicitly stating there that what SpaceX is doing, sending payloads to orbit rather than to suborbit, approximately 2 orders of magnitude, translation 100 times harder than what Sue Origin and Jeff Bezos have been able to do so far. Now I just quickly want to address the Tesla shareholders in the room. So if you own Tesla stock, pay close attention and play along at home with me. Just imagine, just think to yourself, if what SpaceX has been able to achieve, even though on the surface you may not really be able to differentiate, Blue Origin's sending stuff up, SpaceX is sending stuff up, cool story. Elon Musk quite explicitly stating there what SpaceX has done is 100 times harder than what Blue Origin has done to date. By the way, Blue Origin was founded before SpaceX, just for context. Now just imagine to yourself, what if I thought about this from the perspective of Tesla and electric vehicles versus what everyone else has been able to do with electric vehicles? I wonder how much harder what Tesla has accomplished so far in terms of electric vehicle production and their technology, reaching volume production, not going bankrupt, innovating in manufacturing, technology, software, everything. I wonder how much harder what Tesla has accomplished is than anyone else in the automotive industry, because at this point in time, surface appearances can be a little bit deceptive. We also heard some great new details about Starlink. We heard they've got around 1,500 satellites in orbit today. Just think about that. 1,500, that's 1,500 satellites already orbiting the planet, with the ultimate aim of around 30,000, potentially, I believe, up to 42,000 satellites. Great start, many more to go. And as I've mentioned previously in some of my SpaceX and Starlink related videos, no one else can compete with Starlink because no one else can launch for nearly the cost of SpaceX. Which leads perfectly into the next point. Elon Musk was describing the total launch business in terms of revenue for SpaceX, maybe $3 to $4 billion per year. Starlink could see 10x this amount of revenue, $30+ billion per year, just by serving around 3% of the world's population. Elon Musk also suggesting there that they may be able to reach 5%, give or take. So in theory, Starlink could become a $50+ billion revenue company. And some fascinating details in terms of launch costs there. Falcon 9 today, in terms of launch costs, around 30 to 50% the cost of anyone else out there. And Starship could be able to do the same for just 1% of the cost of what anyone else is able to do today. This is absolutely insane. Elon Musk suggesting that the marginal cost of launch could be under $1 million. Now, to give you folks some context, the fuel necessary for an international flight between Sydney and Los Angeles, about a 14-hour flight, is almost $400,000. Do some math here. That means that Starship could be launching 100 tons, 150 tons to orbit for 2 to 3 times the cost of the fuel necessary for an international flight between Sydney and LA. Just think about that for a moment. That is absolutely insane. Elon Musk also had some thoughts on Jeff Bezos and Sue Origin with all the lawsuits recently trying to slow down SpaceX, and had some pretty valuable advice there for Jeff Bezos. Maybe spend a little bit less energy and time on lawsuits and a little bit more just trying to get to orbit. I think that's pretty good advice. Elon summed it up perfectly. You can't sue your way to the moon. Elon also had some very valuable wisdom in terms of the value of time. In essence, no matter how much money you have, no matter your resources, you cannot get more time. Time is the ultimate currency. Elon Musk also shared some more thoughts about the extremely corrupt Biden administration, the UAW eggplant gobbling Biden administration, just to be really clear there, holding an EV summit. Not only did they fail to invite Tesla, the company who has single-handedly forced the entire US and global auto industry to transition towards electric vehicles, great opportunity to say congratulations, here's a leader in the field, what an inspiration, but they're not even invited. And worse than that, Biden administration avoided even mentioning their name. Elon Musk very fairly saying they're not exactly the friendliest administration, they do appear to be controlled by the UAW. Of course, Elon Musk relatively delicate there in his terminology, but make no mistake about it. This administration is extremely corrupt. As I've mentioned in previous videos discussing this, card in the corner if you haven't seen any, the UAW has been a major donor to the Democratic Party almost exclusively for the last 30 years. It seems very likely that there's a strong connection between these political donations, aka bribes, in my opinion, and the unwillingness of this administration to even utter the words Tesla. It's pretty despicable. But hey, it's politics. Elon again pointing out that he believes potentially the biggest existential threat to civilization itself is population collapse. The message there from Elon Musk pretty clear, go out and make some babies. And on that topic, I just wanted to point out to all the guys watching, please let your sister know that my DMs are open. Elon Musk also pointing out there that he believes that generally speaking, people should be open to psychedelics. I made an entire video about this yesterday. YouTube has since demonetized that video. Apparently they didn't like me talking about psychedelics. What a surprise. The most powerful moment in the entire interview, in my opinion, was the moment that Elon Musk said that he believes at this point in time, the way things are today, SpaceX is the only hope for Mars. And this really hits home. I'm a long-term space fanboy. I've been dreaming about seeing Earth from orbit, visiting the moon and Mars since I was a really tiny kid. And it makes you realize how lucky we are, at least the space fanboys and fangirls watching, that a company like SpaceX actually exists, because I think Elon has a point. If there's no SpaceX, how the f*** are we getting to Mars? Really? Elon also had a really interesting observation in terms of autonomy and the FUD and the fake news and the drama, pointing out that even if autonomy reduces fatalities by 90%, the 10% of people who do die in fatalities relating to autonomy, their family will sue, there'll be lots of drama, lots of FUD in the media, and the 90% of people who are currently alive today, because their life was saved inadvertently by autonomy, won't even realize it. But despite all the pushback, all the FUD, all the disinformation being spread, all the dangerously stupid morons who currently work as, quote, journalists, who are trying to scare people away from these types of technologies, who have incalculable amounts of blood on their hands as a result. Just as a quick aside, I wish these folks would wake the f*** up and realize the implications and the consequences of what they're writing and the fact that they're scaring people away from these technologies. But Elon Musk pointing out there that at the end of the day, it's not about the perception of are you doing the right thing, is this technology safe, blah, blah, blah. It's about the reality. Is what you're doing the right thing? Who cares if people are on you, trying to bring you down, trying to scare people away? At the end of the day, what matters is are you doing the right thing, coming from a good place, and having the balls to do what's right, consequences be damned, is something that I will always respect. I have zero respect for people or companies who pander and try to please, knowing that they're not doing the right thing, but they're just trying to keep the peace. And finally, Elon Musk brilliantly summing up my own thoughts on the simulation. Asked if he believes that we live in a simulation, summed it up perfectly. My brain says yes, but my heart says no. For those of you who don't quite understand here, search online, look up simulation theory, you'll understand why. It's a very logical argument. It's very difficult to logically argue with, but let's be honest, it doesn't really feel like we're in a simulation. So I hope you guys and girls have enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below, what were your favorite moments, favorite things that Elon Musk said? And let me know if you appreciate these style of highlights / supercut videos, cutting out the ums and ahs, just trying to get to the essence of what Elon Musk said. I'm happy to continue to do these in the future. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And don't forget the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card, where you can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase. There's a link in the description. You can also earn up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, also linked below. And finally, don't forget your free stocks with WeBull and Stake, also linked in the description. These great offers also help out the channel. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.